Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. Aqui desse de BR falando. Bom, para mais um episódio de Bravely Default. Só colocar o jogo aqui na tela. Eu dei uma upada em off, tá nível 18, e também por causa da vila do Bravely Default. Vou colocar o jogo na tela. Jogo na tela. Aí. Mostrar o negócio da vila. A vila. Ela, tipo, ela tem negócio de horas, a hora passa, mas é horas da vida real, ou tipo, 11 horas. Enquanto eu tava farmando, eu tava fazendo isso aqui, tipo, deixei... Cara, tipo, é 70 horas pra desbloquear os especiais. Especial Move. Deixa eu equipar agora, mostrar. E eu já vou direto pra missão. Especial... Tá, todos estão... Todos são equipados. Aí. Default 5 times, beleza. Deixa. Estou equipado em qual? Nesse aqui, Infinity, beleza. E ela por Simbolt. Pode deixar o like. Regeneração. Aqui eu já desbloqueei. Tem que desbloquear. Tá captando áudio? Tá captando áudio certinho. Aí. Partiu o boss.
What? Remunerations for the lost caravan? It was stolen, along with my supplies and my camels.
And this is not my responsibility, eh? You failed to protect your investments. You! We had a contract, my friend. The provisions for loss and damages were clearly written in the fine print.
Even so, I can't be made to pay for the damages when I've just had all my possessions stolen. I'll be out on the streets.
This is not my concern. You will pay. Or, if you prefer, I can be asking your wife for this money. Your daughter? Hmm?
Wait, please! Leave my family out of this!
That's enough!
Hmm? Why are you here? Eavesdropping, are you?
Sir, you don't owe this rotten band of fraudulent crooks a single peeg. You are free to be on your way.
I feel this joke is not funny. I have business with this gentleman. We have no time for baseless accusations.
Then what of accusations with concrete proof?
Oh? And just what is that, huh?
A little souvenir snatched from the lair of the thieves prowling the oasis of late. It bears your signature, Chairman, as well as your orders to attack any citizens approaching the oasis.
What? Then when they... And you were planning to rob me now a second time!
Ah, this day. No luck at all. I suppose this is a result of trusting that useless urchin to perform a simple task.
Then you don't deny it? Release the city's wells to the public then, immediately!
I beg your pardon? Just who are you to be issuing the orders, girl? As I told you before, this is a business. If you are too poor, this is your problem. Stupid enough to be tricked, your problem. Don't like it? Go earn some money, eh?
Money, money, money. These are human lives. Ugh, this is useless. I'm shutting you down right now.
We will be seeing about that. Sigma Kint, I have work for you.
Paying work, I assume.
You! From the thieves' den! You'd help this crook?
Provided his pockets are heavier than yours, yes. I care nothing past that. Irutus Profiteur, Merchant of Death. Do we have an agreement?
But of course! And I'm feeling generous today. Kill them all, and I'll earn a bonus!
Contract established. You'll have your money's worth.
Nossa, nossa, 3 de dano. Não dá silence, que droga. É sacanagem, mano. Meu amigo. Vamos ver se o céu.
I'll give my all!
agreement ends here. This is what your money buys.
What? I've made a small fortune!
Any further, and I'll be placing my life on the line. That bears a surcharge of 51.2 billion pig.
That's not a surcharge! It's a national budget! You're mad!
Then this is farewell. Best of luck.
This is fraud! I'll see you reported for this!
Don't blink.
Oh, meu Deus do céu. Filho da mãe. Prega não falou nada.
Good luck! I'll give my all!
Money! All my money! My...
Ô louco, 720.
I'm still just livid! I never knew people this unbelievably foul even existed! I'm just glad we managed to root out the ones causing Ancham's people such suffering. And just look at these papers! It's proof of one crime after the next. I can only pray this will make life here a bit less difficult.
At the risk of repeating myself, you'll want to have a look at this. No signature this time. A memo of profiteers, perhaps?
Whatever it is, it stinks. The merchantry might not be the only snakes involved in this scheme.
It bears checking. Well, let's have a look for ourselves at the mill tonight.
Do you feel that?
Monsters. Monsters roaming here, and quite a few.
Inside the temple? How? What happened to this place, Agnes?
The crystal of wind was swallowed up in darkness.
Darkness.
Yes, at the chasm in Kaldisla. It opened at the same time the crystal lost its light. And the dark that consumed it continues to breed more darkness still. I expect that font of shadows is to blame for drawing these creatures here.
Not good.
Yet we've no choice. Keep vigilant as we proceed. A moment's distraction could prove fatal.
What's all this on the floor?
The crystallist scriptures.
Oh, what sort of things do they say?
Dauntless seeker, offer your prayers unto the crystals. So too shall the Vestal, in accordance with the teachings. Their resplendent light shall cleave a path through darkest night and banish fear from every shadow. The scriptures have been passed down through more than 2 millennia, since the founding of the Orthodoxy. The excerpt I gave is among their most important passages.
I've heard it. From one of the old shepherds, when I was young.
It's that famous then? I've never read them, nor heard them quoted.
It looks as if someone tried to carry them away from here.
The acolytes. They were women of exceptional faith. I expect they came here desperate to protect these writings.
This stain upon the floor. I'm afraid it's blood.
Ah, que besteira.
This is terrible.
It's like a storm swept through in the middle of supper. What are these scraps of cloth? Habits. Huh? Oh, I'm so sorry. They belonged to the acolytes who lived here. They were tasked with looking after me. I owe them all so much.
Where have they gone?
Tipo, Dark Souls 3 eu lembro que ele tem.
Just awful. It's in complete chaos.
Yet swallowed up in silence. And in that stillness, grief. This place is steeped in sadness.
The women here made themselves a human shield that I might get away.
And now, all of them gone. It's Norende all over again.
Yet, I haven't the leisure to send them on, or to mourn them. I'm not allowed even the luxury of grief. They sacrificed themselves that I might protect the crystal. I'll not betray them, I swear it. No matter what happens.
Surely, you can allow yourself to grieve.
I pray for them, that they may know peace. But for now, I must press onward. The crystal altar is just beyond. Follow me.
Even hearing the stories, I'd never expect it.
No! Its light is dimmer still than when I left. I've watched over the crystal all my life, but this... I've never seen this.
We need to release it from the darkness. Agnes, you know what to do, don't you?
The Mother Vestal, my predecessor, showed me as a child. A rite to cleanse the crystal of any evil to befall it. I'm to sharpen my focus to a single point and align my breathing to the thrum of the crystal's natural rhythm. Every Vestal to come before me has poured her prayers into the crystal. The time has come to draw upon that store of will and awaken it.
You do your office proud. Now for the final step.
The Vestal Garb.
Right. Without that to serve as a conduit, you won't be able to set the crystal to resonating.
The Mother Vestals was stored in the reliquary.
Lead the way. Once we have that, we can begin the rite of awakening.
That's the garb you need?
Yes, this is it. But the dark has beaten us here.
Oh, look at it. It's in tatters. And it must have been such a beautiful piece.
It may not serve its function in this state, yet no other set remains to us.
What now, then? We can't perform the rite without it.
Why not give it a try as is? Even without its sacred power, the frock is deliciously holy.
Stop talking, Ring-a-Bell.
If this garb is destroyed, can we make a new one?
A set of holy vestments used in some miraculous ritual? Sure, Tiz. Let me ask my tailor.
No, he's right. That's it. We must speak with the old sage of the Yuliana Woods. He has seen to the creation of the Vestal's garbs and other ceremonial tools for generations. There's no finer craftsman. I met him only once, as a small child together with the Mother Vestal. More than a decade has passed. I cannot say whether he is still there, or even alive, but
if he can make us a new set of vestments, why are we still standing around talking? I've never heard of these woods. Where are they? How will we get there?
I recall the forest being uncommonly dense. Also, there was a lake.
If it's large enough to float a ship, I'll land us there. Now, what are the ladies of Yuliana? Are there many ladies?
Ignore him. Can we be certain this lake hasn't rotted through like the oceans? That's not how I fancy ending my life.
Well, what does Ring-a-Bell's journal have to say on the matter?
Let's have a look. Ah, here we are. Yuliana, yes. The hidden heart of an ancient wood, northeast of Ansheim.
Given the book's owner, I half expected some note about the lack of women there.
Women or no, that's our next destination.
Indeed, but since we're going, let's hope for ladies.
feels familiar. It's been ages, but this is it. We were here. The Mother Vestal, I, and Olivia.
Was that strange, distant groaning here then, too? Or am I the only one who's thoroughly unsettled right now?
You're not alone. The lack of women here is positively chilling.
Though it seems someone lives here.
Hello? Is anyone there?
I thought I heard something. This place draws few visitors, I fear, and me fewer still. So, to whom do I owe this pleasure?
I am Agnes Oblige, sir. Vestal of Wind.
Little Agnes, is it? Oh, you have grown, child. You were scarce more than a little sprout when your predecessor brought you here. Now look at you, a fine woman you've become. Fine and plump and pleasantly jiggly.
Ugh, lovely. It's a geriatric ring-a-bell.
Then you are indeed the sage I seek. I fear I do not remember your name, sir.
Oh, we are a lot alike in that, my dear. Not many people around these parts to call me by it. Whatever it was. Sage will do just fine by me. It is what the last Vestal called me. At her heels, you. Thage, you'd call. A more charming little echo I've never heard.
Well, I am glad to have found you.
Feels rather good to hear a pretty young thing like you was looking for me. Seems I've not quite lost my charm. Now, you called yourself Vestal. I take it that means the last Vestal is...
Yes, sir. Her tenure as Vestal ended 5 years ago. Her life, a year later.
I see. A sad loss for all of us. She was fair but firm, very firm. She had taut curves fit to drive a man mad.
We shall be needing an in-depth account, good sage. Also, a briefing on any wild women of the woods.
Stop talking. Just stop.
You've quite the following, my dear. I had thought the Vestals forswore all contact with the outside world.
They are assisting me in my task.
Oh, assistance, eh? I see. Oh, and such colorful characters they are. I've kept you out here long enough. Come inside. I see. Well, that's quite the story. You've been brave to come this far, Agnes.
I'd not have managed on my own. I owe Tiz a great debt.
Well, perhaps it is we've come to the harrowing.
The harrowing?
The swelling dark is a harbinger, lad, as is the fall of the temples, the dulling crystals, the great chasm.
It is the Vestal's calling to see that darkness purged. I must awaken the 4 crystals.
Awaken them?
Absolutely astonishing!
Huh? What?
I took the liberty of stealing a peek at the ladies' fashions you've assembled in the next room, good sir. Each is a beauty fit to outshine the next. Their allure had me spellbound. Spellbound, I tell you.
I'm impressed a man of your scant years can properly appreciate them.
I would gladly talk the night away with a man of your genius.
They're a matched pair.
Ring a bell, please. We're in the middle of an important discussion.
As am I, my friend. This is art, romance. You'll come to understand in a few years. And as I recall, we didn't come here to talk. We came to procure Vestal garb as quickly as possible. While you were chatting, I searched. My efforts bore unexpected fruit, that's all.
So, you've come to me because of your need for new vestments, have you?
I have. The garb housed in the temple was lost to the darkness. We found it in scrap, sir.
Those garbs are woven from rainbow thread. No substitute will suffice.
And is this thread something you keep on hand?
I fear not, my dear. The Vestal to wear the garb must procure the thread herself. It is tradition. The last Vestal of Wind did so, as did her predecessor and countless Vestals before. Even had I the thread used to craft the last Vestal's garb, I could not fashion it into aught of use to you.
I understand. Tell me where I must go.
Of course, my child. But come, the day is nearly spent. Stay the night. Oh, yes, if you girls would like, I would be happily obliged to make space in my own bed for you.
Oh, unacceptable.
Likewise.
Then let the two of us pass the night in ardent conversation.
Good morning. Slept well, I trust? A deal, was it? How about making a nip of breakfast now for an old man, eh?
What? Why should I cook for you?
Because a young beauty's home-cooked meal is far more appetizing than anything I might make myself, of course. Given her upbringing, I've grave doubts the Vestal could boil water, let alone cook. That leaves you.
Food can wait, Sage. Now the location of the rainbow thread, if you please.
And yes, jealous are you? Oh, that's adorable.
The location of the rainbow thread, if you please.
You're no fun at all. Very well, then. I prepared a light meal while you were sleeping. Eat before you go. You'll find the rainbow thread very deep in a cave that is far west of here. I shall mark it upon your map.
place holds nothing for us. Let's return to our task.
Ugh, what a dank, wretched place. Who knows what's lurking inside? Are we certain we'll find this thread in here?
I wouldn't put it past that sage to be pulling our leg. A slippery old fox, that one.
Said the slippery young fox.
The sage has aided Vestals in their service for at least 2 generations. Let us trust in him for now.
Then we've no reason to stand around debating. Let's press on.
Nossa. Que merda.
Let's end this quick!
Ready to fly? Do not stand in my way!
Ah! Look there! Is that the rainbow thread?
Oh, it's lovely! I'm shocked we actually found it here. Now, let's collect it and be quit of this place.
Wait, we're not alone.
A monster?
Ah, lascou.
Well, that was a surprise.
No one said anything about a monster! Did the old man know about this? If he knew and didn't tell us, he's awful! That would be lying! How could he put the Vestal in danger? Without her, who would perform the rites?
Be calm, Mary. Perhaps this was a trial of sorts. A test of my resolve and skill as Vestal. Regardless, we found what we came for. Let's return with the thread.
Ah, back in one piece, are you? Very impressive.
Then you did know! A word of warning might have helped you, old lech.
It's been so long since I set about crafting Vestal garb. I'd completely forgotten. I believe you were in a hurry. I'll begin straight away. All the haste in the world won't see it done before tomorrow. Make yourselves at home till then,
Agnes?
What's the matter? Trouble sleeping?
Sir, do you remember this pendant? I've treasured it like a good luck charm since I was a child. Ever since the day you gave it to me.
That brings me back. I remember it well, child. I'm pleased you've held on to it all this while.
It gives me strength. In dark times I would pray to it, talk to it, and the stone would lend me courage.
Keep it close and keep it safe. Someday it may serve you better still.
And the other girl? The one who was with me when last I was here. Do you remember her?
Oh, little Olivia.
Yes. She serves now as the Vestal of Water. Sir, have you heard anything of her? Is she safe? The world's oceans began to fester the same day the darkness took the wind crystal. It's the crystal of water that sustains the seas. I fear I fear the same fate has struck the Temple of Water, or worse. I need to know if Olivia is safe, but I haven't the means or the time to seek her out.
I'm afraid I know no more than you. All I can say is that she's not come to this place.
I see.
Tell me, child, would you care to share what else is on your mind?
I'm uncertain. Until a few days ago, I lived a hermit's existence, sequestered in the temple, surrounded by acolytes. I knew nothing of the world outside, know nothing of it still. How can I be sure in the face of that ignorance? How can I know that the path I walk is the right one?
Recent years have seen the people's hearts and minds turn from the crystal orthodoxy. Its practices are all but forgotten. Yet even still, they regard the crystals and the vestals who tend them with an innate reverence. Carry out your duty and keep faith, my child. Therein lies the path the Vestals show to all humanity.
But I'm still so weak. Compared to the Mother Vestal, I lack in everything. I could not stop the dark from swallowing up the crystal. I cost those women their lives. And all the world's people, kings and commoners alike, their eyes bore into me, whether in expectation or disappointment. The weight is crushing. My shoulders are not broad enough to bear the weight of it. The hopes and fears of an army of strangers I've never so much as seen before. They frighten me. I am unfit to show them the way forward. I barely trust my legs to carry myself alone.
But they have. Despite the blame and fear, you fought this far for the world and its people. Your fight is a noble one, just and right, and beyond any reproach. But now the time has come to set others upon that path, guide them to follow in your steps. Just as the Vestals have ever drawn upon the crystal's light to illuminate the way forward for all mankind, so must you. Words are powerful things, my child. The Vestal's words doubly so. They are a force capable of driving man to action, of sustaining him in times of need. You've walked your path for humanity's sake. Your love of this world has been your fuel. Now let your words be theirs. Share your path with them. They'll decide for themselves whether to follow or not. The world will choose as it may. But if you open your heart and point the way, you'll ignite a spark of hope within the hearts of countless men and women.
Hope? You sound like Tis.
Oh, already begun lighting those sparks, have you? You'll reach them, child. Speak, and your words will find a home.
Then I had best choose them wisely.
Oh, you look marvelous!
I knew it. You're every bit the wonder I imagined.
It really suits you, Agnes.
Whether it suits me or not is of little importance. These vestments are a tool, and their purpose strictly ritual. But thank you.
Phew! A night's work feels like 7 at my age.
I thank you for your sacrifice, Sage. Your efforts will see the winds return.
Oh? If you really cared to thank me, you'd plant a kiss on my cheek.
Oh, you're shameless.
Is that another tradition surrounding the creation of the Vestalgar?
No! It's the sad fantasy of a lecherous little toad.
What? Unacceptable!
I do love a girl with a firm touch. Come back anytime you've need of me. I'll do all I'm able.
Thank you, Sage.
Now, back to the temple. Grown even more stagnant. It feels almost malicious.
I might be sick.
Wait, something's here.
No! A monster's taken hold of the crystal!
Orthros!
The beast from the scriptures? Bringer of doom!
Now what?
It stands between us and the crystal's awakening.
Then I don't suppose we've much choice. Don't fall for me now.
Say goodbye!
It's over. Somehow. Just how long has that thing been inside the crystal?
The details can wait. First comes the rite of awakening. I'll second that. I'm in no state to deal with any of that beast's friends right now. Hurry, Agnes! You need to get ready! Right. I'm ready, Eri. Then let's review how the rite works one last time. I'm to focus my prayers on the crystal, yes? Right. That will naturally align your breathing with the crystal's rhythm. Your life force will stir it awake. That will return the crystal to its normal state. But you mustn't stop there. Keep praying. If you excite the crystal to just short of the breaking point, then release that energy all at once, its effects will spread far and wide. There are a few important things to remember, though. First, you are not to stop until I say. The flow of energy into the crystal could reverse. At its worst, that could be fatal. Second, once I give the signal, you have to stop immediately. Any further, and this time, it'll be the crystal that breaks. I understand. Last, everyone needs to keep their distance and stay absolutely silent. The rite places a huge burden on the Vestal, physically and mentally. But even if she seems to be in pain, you can't come near her or the crystal, no matter what.
What do you mean a huge burden? Is there any danger to Agnes?
There's nothing to worry about. I'll be right here watching to make sure of that. Now, everyone but Agnes step back. All ready to begin? Ready. Is it done? Not yet! Just a little longer! More! Keep going! Still not enough! You can do this! Stop! That's it!
Did it work?
The Rite of Awakening was a great success! You were amazing, Agnes! I never dreamed it'd go this well! Oh, good. Now the wind should return. That was supposed to happen then? My heart nearly stopped. I thought something had gone wrong and the whole thing was exploding.
I'll bet they saw that flash from Anshine.
That light. I feel as if I've seen that light before.
Your memories return?
No, just I can't see it clearly. But I remember a hand reaching out through the light. A woman's hand.
There he goes again.
Are you alright, Agnes? Anything we can do?
I'm fine. Thank you. Oh, look, look! One of the gems on my brooch is shining! That's proof of the wind crystal's release!
Then the entire brooch will look like that? Once we've finished with all 4 crystals?
That's right! Only 3 to go!
3 more times.
Well, for now let's head back to town. The wind should be returning, right?
Do the streets seem noisy to anyone else?
Ah, over there! It's the Weasel King.
Hearken to me, my children. After abandoning our kingdom to its fate, the Vestal then came slinking back to these borders to beg my forgiveness. And forgive her I did, for I saw naught to be gained from excoriating a girl for her egregious failures. My clemency was met with willful pride. She promised to return the wind to motion single-handedly. Yet, what has come of it? Nothing. Save the southern sky set ablaze with a malefic light. The Vestal failed to restore the wind, and brought still greater calamity upon our heads. As proof, look no further than the stagnant air around you. I can but blame my own wishful ignorance for this latest turn of events. I ought never have entrusted this matter to a relic of a bygone era. The Crystal Orthodoxy is a dream of the past, the Vestal obsolete. Her inability to ensure the crystal's function is manifest. Join me, my people! Let us rely upon the Vestal no longer! It is our own efforts that will see this kingdom saved. The labor service is your sacred duty, your pride as citizens. All who work beyond 20 hours a day will receive a royal commendation. And in the wake of this tribulation, Sunshine will emerge a new land. Our new history begins now.
Saiu gameplay lá no Twitter.
The Vestal?
Worry no longer, people of Ansheim. I have just awakened the Crystal of Wind!
Lying witch! Then why does the air remain still?
It's true. There's no wind.
The Grand Mill isn't turning!
The king may be right.
Don't be afraid. The footsteps you've carved will be a guide to these people, Agnes. They just need a light to show the way.
A spark of hope. Please, give me the courage. I ask that you listen. The winds that washed over this land without end for so long stopped. A vast darkness split the earth in the kingdom of Kaldisla. An entire village was devoured. The seas fester. Fish wash up upon our shores, twisted and lifeless. Even ships are unsafe from this corrosion. All the world's people, all life is crying out in pain. Your suffering is mirrored in every corner of existence. I was dispatched by His Majesty to leave these borders and survey the damage firsthand. My conclusion is absolutely certain. The 4 crystals have been clouded over with a powerful darkness. On my return, I found the Crystal of Wind in the clutches of a terrible monster. Its influence had sealed away the crystal's light entirely.
Ha! You reward our patience with fabrications and fantasy. Utterly ridiculous.
This is no fantasy! The beast fell before me and my companions! I present this to you as proof!
Those chains! The chains that circled the beast Orthros! The Tempest Braid? That can't... It's only a legend. A story from the old Crystalist scriptures.
But here they are. The Vestals brought us Tempest Braid. Then
Orthros was no legend, and the Vestals slain it!
Preposterous! The chains are fake! Like your ridiculous story. There's still no wind.
The wind is coming! 2,000 years the Vestals have prayed! Their lives have been the crystal's nourishment! And now they feed the wind!
She's right. The wind.
The wind has returned!
The winds are back!
The Grand Mill, it's turning! I've reached them.
Of course you did. And they love you for it. They found new hope in your words.
You were amazing, Agnes. And Vestals are a force for good. That speech struck any doubt from my mind.
Naturally. I knew it from the moment I first saw you.
They're all calling out to you. Go on and answer them.
I don't...
You're a savior to the kingdom, Lady Vestal. A savior to all of us.
And at such a young age, the Vestals are a blessing upon this world!
Forgive us for failing to aid you when the wind stopped. We were lost.
Please, continue to guide the wind and this nation's people. Lead and we will follow. I thank you all. But I fear I cannot stay. The shadow of danger has been driven from Ansheim, but darkness persists elsewhere in the world. I must join with the other Vestals and see that all mankind is ransomed from this terrible threat.
Caraca.
That is my duty as a Vestal of the Crystals. It pains me to leave your side again so soon. I ask your patience and your forgiveness.
She grieves not just for Ansheim's pain, but that of all the world.
We thought only of our own misfortunes, but the Vestal...
Lady Vestal! Know that you go with all our prayers. Please help them. Help the others as you've helped us.
Be strong, Lady Vestal!
I thank you. Your faith moves me beyond words. I shall see this task complete and then return to you. I swear.
What perverse farce is this? This cannot be so! I shall not be undone by a child! I am king! King! And a king does not forget his enemies! Ah!
Departing already, Lady Vestal? Forgive me. I am Prime Minister Dominus Harina. Your words to the people shook me to my core. Between you and me, I suspect they rattled the king's cage as well. He looked positively deflated.
Falando nisso, vai sair um Nod Blue Protocol, que eu não lembro agora. Então, não, vai ter, então, voltou a vida, o Nod Blue Protocol. Vi uma notícia esses dias. É um projeto chamado Star alguma coisa, Star...
But how will you manage the journey with seas unnavigable?
The
inner sea was spared by some merciful stroke of fate, but no port or sandy shore exists on the Florum side. You might travel by land, but the forests along the way are suffused with a noxious fog. The path is most dangerous.
Seems we're blocked on all sides. Any ideas?
No, but the sage of the Yuliana Woods may know some way.
Then it's to the airship and to Yuliana and beyond. Say the word, Agnes, and I shall lend wings to your every whim.
Just to Yuliana, please.
Vai ter um Pokémon competitivo.
I feel guilty simply sitting around like this.
We all need rest, my dear. Whatever we're to face next, let us do it with a full store of energy. Besides, I'm told exhaustion is murder on the skin. Think of your complexion.
My what?
Try to behave, Ring a Bell. You're upsetting the poor girl.
Is that a hint of jealousy I detect? Perhaps it's you who's upset by...
You're hilarious.
I can think of no sadder creature in this world than a man unable to inspire a little jealousy. It is. For now, I need some air. All this riding on the waves is...
Do you suppose he's all right?
Ugh, leave him. A little seasickness will keep him quiet.
Agnes, do you know the other Vestals? In your speech, you mentioned working with them.
It is my hope that such a collaboration can be achieved, but I have yet to meet the Vestals of Earth or Fire. I know only the Water Vestal, Olivia. I have since we were children, as our temples stand in neighboring kingdoms. Since we became Vestals in full, we've exchanged no correspondence, but I fear the rotting of the seas is proof enough that some ill has befallen the water crystal. I pray that Olivia has fared better.
That was fast. Feeling better?
Vestal of the Wind Crystal, Agnes oblige. Surrender at once, or see your companion slain.
You! Dark Knight Alternus Dim!
Who? What? Idea? You're all right. We've been mad with worry. But you are a captive to the Vestal no longer. Come, I will see she makes no move. Quickly, to my side. Come away from the Vestal.
No! You keep away from him! If you intend to hurt Agnes or Tiz, you'll answer to me for it.
What? What madness is this? You speak nonsense.
I'm not her captive, and she poses no threat. I'm here of my own free will.
What then? You betrayed the duchy? Betrayed your father? Have you lost your mind, girl?
I'm entirely sane. In fact, there's much I've only begun to see clearly now that I've gone traitor.
No more of this. Idea, bind the Vestal's hands. Do this now, and I'll forget all you said here. Please.
It seems you've already forgotten. I said no, Alternus.
What new form of torment is this? I cannot bear these games, Idea. Do not do this to me.
Take one step closer to Agnes and I'll do a lot worse. This is my decision. I'll hold nothing back. I may not be able to best you even so, but I will see that you bleed before I die.
You're certain, then?
I'm certain.
Silencing you would be a simple task, but one slip of my hand and even the flat of my blade would mean your end. I'm a poor hand at holding back.
Then don't bother. I'm not the sort to be cowed by threats, Dim. Perhaps I get that from my father.
I cannot keep this from your father. I ask once more. Will you reconsider?
My mind is set.
Stubborn girl. You're... Very well. I shall withdraw for now. But know this, Vestal. You and your abettors are ever under our watch. What you aim to do runs counter to the flow of progress. You place mankind on the road to annihilation. I'll not allow you to go unchecked. It's time your wings were clipped.
Oh, the Sky Stone!
Cool your head before we next meet, Medea.
Alternate! Tiz! Are you alright? Tiz!
I'm fine. Sorry I wasn't much use back there. If I'd been more...
You're safe. That is all I ask. Medea! Who was that man? He knew you!
He's a member of the Council of Six, the Duchy of Eternia's highest governing body.
And the 6 people sending an army after Agnes.
Your tone was familiar. You were close? We grew up together.
Rejoice, jolly companions. I found the loveliest seashells out there. Here, a gift from... Did I miss something?
You really are hopeless, Ring-a-Bell. Well?
No good, I'm afraid. She won't budge an inch off the ground. Seems we're earthbound until we've another one of these sky stone things.
Blast that Alternus! And me for not seeing this coming! But we can't sit and stew here. Hurry up and do something!
If the ship's grounded, that leaves travel by foot. I suppose we'll have to try our luck with this forest and its miasma.
Deixa eu ver o negócio. Só lá na cidade. Salvar aqui. Vou encerrando por aqui. Então hoje eu vou estar de boa noite. Eu tenho que ver porque ali o Time Age é uma bola posicional. Então vou dar uma pesquisada. Pra ver como eu faço ele e continuar a história. A gente tá no capítulo 1 ainda, então não tá tão longe, mas tá tão perto sim. Você é uma boa tarde, boa noite. É nóis, falou.